Hello ladies and gentlemen, my name is Winter and welcome to episode 2 of Parasite Eve. Picking up exactly where we left off, and I do apologize for the breakup in the narrative structure that we're fixing to have here. I realize now I should have just stopped recording whenever day 2 started. So if you're just joining the series, I recommend you check out the last, 10 or 15 minutes of episode 1? Something like that. But as you can see, we are in the police station now. And I forget where we're supposed to go. I think we're supposed to go down and talk to the gentleman in the armory. But could be wrong, but I think I'm right on that, given that Daniel was mentioning talking to, mentioning getting a new weapon and shit like that. What's she got to say? The weapons department? You didn't hit your head last night, did you? It's right downstairs. Alright, yeah, so we do need to go down there. Let's do a little bit of exploring before we do, though. See if we can pick up anything. Lockers. Hey, look at that. A new vest. Inventory is full, so what is that? What have I got that I can get rid of? It would be nice if I could drop this rehearsal key. But it won't let me do that. You know what? I'm not gonna need cure for quite a while. Oh, well, medicine too. Well, I don't want to call it a fair trade, but it'll work, I guess. Wait, what'd that guy say? At last, it's mine. Yeah, I must have snuck something out of the evidence room. What's this gentleman got to say? Laura, you'd better put on your vest, too. Can't be too careful. That's actually a good idea. Let's see what we've got for armor. Slightly different stats, more defense and magical energy, less protection on critical hits, but I think it's a fair trade-off. Wait, what the fuck? Okay, yeah, we're equipped now. Yeah, alright. Ooh, look at this. What am I looking for? Looking for the gun. There it is. I don't think we run into any combat in this particular segment. That's not till we get to Central Park. Spoiler alert. Alright, let's head on down, because I think these gentlemen in the armory also have a crate where we can drop some stuff off at, which would be nice before we get to exploring too much. That way, if we find something like a mod permit or something. No, I don't want to exchange anything just yet. But see this little box right here? That's pretty much close to unlimited, if I recall. Of course, Wayne, the gentleman behind the counter. I've forgotten what voices I did in the last episode. This is a new day for me. I finished up last night about 9 o'clock and then went to bed. And have not rewatched the footage. I probably should have done that before I got going, so I do apologize. So, yeah, I'm not really coming up with a good voice to make him distinctive. Of course, Wayne is going to feature quite a bit throughout the game. Idiots like you are the reason why guns won't disappear from this country. Get your ass back to weapons storage. You're far from ready to be handling guns in here. Okay. Sheesh. Yeah, that kind of makes him sound slightly slow and dull, doesn't it? Have to come up with something else for Wayne. Tors, I need some equipment. For last night's case, heard it was quite a mess. But as long as cops rely on guns, criminals will too. It's a vicious cycle. I hate to hand a weapon to a young cop like you. But I hear this isn't your ordinary crook. I guess I can't send you off empty-handed. Say, you can't carry any more equipment. Wayne, take some of her things and put them in storage. Yeah. You have something to say, officer? No, sir. So you want to leave something here? Yes, I do. What have I got? Wait. Oh, that's right. I've got bonus points I can assign. I totally forgot about that. I haven't done a fucking one of those. Alright, so we're not using that. So we'll drop this off, as well as the other one. And it doesn't look like I can drop off individual items like healing potions or anything like that yet. Here, this is the most powerful gun I can allow you to have. Hey, M16. Nice. It's got a pretty good range on it. Captain Baker already notified me. Show me your modification permit again. Which gun? Fuck, I guess the... What's the attack? The M16's definitely more powerful than the little pea shooter we're carrying around now. Alright, just wait here. So what this is going to do, if you've never played the game before, is... well, let me show you here in a moment. Psst, don't tell Torrance, but you can use your tool to tune up your guns. You can rearrange equipment parameters and add effects to tweak your equipment. I can show you some cool tune-up techniques. Oh, my goodness. That was a hell of a sound. Yeah, so here it is, modifying equipment. You need a tool, which you'll find... there's normally about one per level, sometimes more. And you can add things like... you can extend the magazine, or increase the range, or increase the damage. Which is a very cool feature. It's fucking awesome. And you can sometimes take all the parameters from one gun and put them onto another gun. But the flip side is, if you do that, then you lose the gun that you're taking parameters off of. It ceases to exist. So you've got to watch what it is you're modding. Let's drop some ammo off. Well, actually, yeah, I'll fill that up real quick. So, oh damn it, I can't do anything with that yet. All right, let's store some items then. What have we got that we can store? Pretty much all of this. Gonna be saving that for later. Oh, nope, don't discard. Now I can get rid of keys. Hell yeah. So these defense and offense, you can apply those to weapons and armor, depending on what the icon is. Like you see the defense right here. That's supposed to be like a suit of armor, like the chest piece, you know, the breastplate or whatever. And then there's your gun. And again, it ups the... How do I want to phrase it? It ups the value of whatever piece of armor or equipment you upgrade. But then if you modify another piece of equipment, like say if I were to use those offense and defense upgrades on the vest that I'm wearing now, if later on in the game I pick up another vest and then use a tool to take the attributes off the vest that I'm wearing now and put those onto the new vest, then the vest that I'm wearing now would disappear, and I think some of the attributes would carry over, but it would just depend on what tool it is that I'm using, if it's a regular one or a super one. Let's change the weapon real quick and then stash that bad boy. You know, sometimes it's easy to get confused on how to do this right off the bat. It's not the hardest upgrading system, but it is a little bit tricky in the wording of it, and I don't even think that I'm really describing it properly. And here you see discard junk. The junk that I'm going to be collecting is going to be dropped off to Wayne here, and he's going to build our super weapon later on. Yeah, there's a tool. You always want to... I'm going to be saving all the tools and all that shit until I get the super weapon that I want and the armor that I want. I forget when I'm going to find the armor that I'm looking to get. That may not actually come until way later in the game. Yeah, I guess I'm just going to go ahead and walk out of here empty-handed and not have anything in inventory. That way when we get to Central Park, I'm fresh to pick up whatever. And again, this is going to be another episode where there's a jump cut. So let's see if this little box on the desk has more ammo in it. It's a good way to stock up. It refills quite a bit. Now, we may actually have to leave the police station and then come back to it and go downstairs to utilize that magical spawning box, I guess you could say. I don't know, the upgrade system, it always takes me a couple of tries kind of fiddling around with it before I fully get the hang of it. And the bad thing is, it's probably as simple as they could explain it, and it's probably easily understandable. It's just my mental capacity is probably not the strongest. I don't know. Whatever, however you want to phrase it, man. I don't know, I won't argue either way. But we've got a pretty good weapon here. And I think there's a little cutscene coming up right up here. We're a little bit restricted on where we can go in the police station at the moment. Now once we finish off Central Park, that'll change. And we should be getting to Central Park fairly quick. I think there will be a detour along the way, but could be remembering it wrong. Of course, as hopefully you're reading the text down there at the bottom, this is Daniel's son Ben. So this is Ben. Actually, I'm gonna go ahead and drink a little bit of coffee, so you'll have to read this on your own. A little bit early in the morning for me today. That's good coffee. Going with the blackest of the black roast. That's not what it's called. I forget what it's called, but it's a very dark roast. Very potent, very strong. A little bit of French vanilla creamer. It's good stuff. Highly recommend it. It'll get you going after a couple cups. Especially if you just forego the creamer and just drink it straight up black. Man, for some reason that shit always gets me jacked up. But I can't stand the taste of it then. Because I'm a fiend, man. I'll normally go for about 3 or 4 scoops whenever I fill up the filter. Sometimes 6. It just depends on how dangerous I feel like living for the day. You know what I mean? Oh, now I gotta put my cup down. I didn't get any coffee out of that at all. And is there anything in here? I thought there was. That may be later on. Again, we're going to be coming back to this police station as the story progresses and develops. And I didn't even read that text. I'm not sure if he told us where we were supposed to go now or not. But she seems to be full of advice. Met Daniel's son, Ben? Daniel divorced his wife last year. This was before you were assigned here. He kept saying every boy needs a father. So he fought for Ben's custody with Lorraine, his ex-wife. Well, he won, but being a cop, I doubt if he has time to spend with him. Oh yeah, Captain Baker was looking for you. Yes, she does know where we need to go. Let's go talk to the captain. I wish I had a program where you could rip the audio and video off of DVDs. It would have been cool to splice in some footage of Bruce Willis in Die Hard 2 talking to that cop outside of the airport. Well, why don't you take me up to see the captain? Remember that movie, Die Hard 2, Die Harder, in the airport in the middle of winter? It was supposed to be like Washington, D.C., but it was really Colorado. At least I think it was supposed to be D.C. Could be remembering it wrong. Been a while since I've seen that one. I haven't watched any of those movies in quite a while, actually. The media is just looking for anything to grill us about. They may even turn you into a suspect. So you let me do the talking, understood? Yes, sir. Okay then, let's go meet the press. So I can pause during these. That's cool. That was an accident. Oh, terrorists. It's always terrorists, isn't it? Guy trips over a newspaper on a sidewalk. It's terrorist. How did Detective Bree survive without so much as a minor burn? That is a result of her quick thinking and training as an officer. I'm asking her the question. She said that my mitochondria were a mutation. Lara? Of course, her name's supposed to be Aya, but if you missed the first episode, I renamed her. Oh, there's a little bit of music. I was wondering if it was going to stay silent the whole time. Melissa, no, she said she was Eve. But according to a report, Melissa Pierce was killed in the fire. Melissa did die. Her body had been taken over by this Eve. What's this Eve? Some kind of alien? People, please. She's very tired and we are still investigating. That will be all for today. Laura, I thought I told you not to say anything. I'm telling the truth, sir. Oh, slam that fist. That is not the point. Who's going to believe you? You'll only stir up the media and cause people to panic. Sir, she was only... Baker here? Who? What does he want? Well, put him through then. This is Captain Baker. What? Meet? You'll have to speak up. Yes. What? Yes. Alright. Some Japanese scientist, I think. Couldn't understand his English too well. He was raving about some Mito something. Says he's coming over here. Mito? Is it mitochondria? You mean that thing in the cell that makes energy from oxygen? Might have heard about that in school. That's what Eve had said. That it's time for the mitochondria to be set free. Hey, I just read that some researcher at the museum wrote a new theory on them. That's convenient, isn't it? Sir, I'm taking Laura to go talk to this researcher. Go. Better get there before the media. It may explain the phone call, too. Yes, sir. Come on, Laura. And that's a real thing, mitochondria, which I personally had never heard of before I played this game. And I suppose I should mention at this point that this is actually the sequel to a book, if I recall correctly. The book was... oh, what the fuck was the name of it? I don't know, it might have been called Parasite Eve. But, the book was released in Japan, if I remember right. And I think there's a North American translation available online. You know, it's been a while since I've read about it, though, or looked into it, so I could possibly be remembering it wrong. But I do know that it's either a sequel to a book or it's an adaptation of a book. And of course, this game itself got 2 sequels, Parasite Eve 2, and then the Third Birthday, which if I remember right, was only available on the PSP. Alright, so here's our overworld. This is how we change locations. Right now we are at the NYPD number 17. We want to go to the museum, and as you can see, we can go back to Carnegie Hall, which is where the first episode took place. But again, if we go back to Carnegie Hall, we can't actually go back down into the sewer part. We can only walk around these same rooms that we were exploring in the first one when we were actually in the building, not in the sewer. And we've already cleared all the items out of there, so there's really nothing left to go back for. And I don't even think monsters respawn. Well, they probably respawn, but the XP really isn't worth it. I mean, it took me forever and a day to get leveled up to level 7 in that section. It took a while, man. Like, the fucking rats were only worth like 2 XP each, something like that. The bird was worth like maybe 4. Pretty low, but you know, you just gotta grind away at it. It's old school RPG set in a modern era. You know, set in the city, urban environment, police cars, modern tech, well, modern for 1997. I don't think this game really stretches reality too much in terms of the scientific terminology. You know, it's got a basis in the real world. It's just sort of blown out of proportion, I guess you could say. Yeah, but that was years ago. Now he's my boss. So, see, I shouldn't have been talking. I totally missed all the conversation. I just caught that tail end. Son of a bitch. I gotta stop doing that. Chocobo. Nice little homage. I think there's another reference to Final Fantasy in this game as well, besides that Chocobo. It's been a while since I've visited the museum. The World of Dinosaurs. Loved those things when I was a kid. Looks like it's closed today. Well, let's see what the security guard can do for us. Hey there, how you doing? Doing okay. Pretty cold day though. How about yourself? We're with the NYPD. We're looking for a Dr. Klamp. He works here, doesn't he? Sure does. As a matter of fact, he's up there in his room right now. Did he do something? Nah, we just want to talk to him, that's all. Thank you. It shouldn't take long. Place is pretty creepy without any people. Oh shit, he said something about where we could find him. Skipped over it, I'm sorry. I apologize. That was a slip of the finger on my part. It's been pretty busy for the past few weeks. Doesn't come out, ever. Thanks. Oh, by the way, could you sign in? It's policy. Lets us keep track of who comes in. Thanks, Laura. Gee, Daniel, you sure you don't want to run down here and do it yourself? Notebook's on the counter. Thanks. Just my name? Yep, that should be enough, unless you want to leave your number, too. Oh, she just flipped him off. Look at that. Hell yeah. You go, girl. And then, you know, that is one thing I like about Aya as a character. She's a badass, man. She's just as cool as Lara Croft, in my opinion. Total package. You know, good looking, nice attitude, take no shit, take no prisoners. But also firm and fair, I guess. I don't know what you would call it, but good character. Definitely not the damsel in distress or overly sexualized. I mean, they could have just as easily kept her in the dress from the first episode the whole game. But, you know, there she is. She's wearing jeans and a jacket and dressed appropriately and handles herself very well. And she wears the jeans and the jacket well as well. Professor, we're looking for clues concerning the incident which occurred. Are you accusing me? Oh, flashback. What? This again? What is this? This man. I know him, I think. So she keeps having these flashbacks to children on hospital beds and a doctor walking up and monitoring. I mean, it's kind of predictable. If you can't really tell where it's going by the end of the first episode in regards to Eve and Aya's relationship, then I don't know what to tell you, man. It's kind of plain as day, and especially once this guy gets involved, you kind of know where it's going and what's going on, but you know, it works. There's worse ways that they could have handled it. It's fairly simple and to the point, you know, it doesn't overcomplicate itself with anything. So the mitochondria possesses its own unique genetic code. Its own? Are you saying it's a separate organism? Precisely. Kind of like a parasite or something, huh? Parasite? That's an interesting way of describing this most fascinating creature. We cannot live without the mitochondria. Do you understand? God, this guy gets into it, man. He's fucking intense about it. The mitochondria creates energy for us. Without it, we're nothing. We are here because the mitochondria allows us to be here. Our brain, for example. The brain functions due to the interaction between axons and dendrites. This interaction is possible due to the energy the mitochondria provides. Did you know the mitochondria is capable of discharging 200,000 volts of electricity? This not only pertains to electrical discharge, but also applies to heat energy as well. Heat? Then the combustions from last night were... for a human to burn and melt, 1600 degrees of heat must be generated. There are several hundred mitochondria present within a single cell. If all the mitochondria in the body began functioning at the same time, a tremendous amount of energy would be generated and released. Melting a human into a puddle of fluid would be a simple task with so much energy. So you're saying that the mitochondria ignited these people? Professor, you may be right in that we need the mitochondria to live, but in the end, we're just using them for energy, right? Ha! You have no idea. The mitochondria has control over an organism's growth. Take this hand, for example. Before we're born, the hand is merely a glob of flesh. But when cells between the fingers deteriorate, that's when the fingers first form. When the cells which make up the body aren't needed anymore, it receives a signal to die. This signal is initiated by the mitochondria. When it is relayed, the genetic information in the nucleus is cut off and in essence dies. The same can be said for aging. the mitochondria mutates 10 times faster than cells. Of course, this also applies to mutant forms of mitochondria as well. When too many mutant mitochondria multiply, energy production level decreases. The decrease in energy production is associated with the aging process. So, are you still stupid enough to say that we are the higher species? But you're not saying that the mitochondria is doing all this consciously, right? Man, Daniel got worked up about that shit. Look at that. Everybody's got so much passion. Shit, that's awesome. They really believe it, man. They buy into it. That's great. Since the beginning of creation, the mitochondria has been evolving at this rate. It's no surprise if they possess a power beyond our cognition. No surprise at all. Let me tell you something. There was a scientist who tried to determine the mutation rate of the mitochondria. With this, the scientist wanted to establish a connection with human ancestry. In 1987, it was announced that the root of all humans can be traced to a single woman in Africa. This finding was announced around the world. And with this, the mitochondrial theory spread like wildfire. You know what they call the root of it all? Mitochondria Eve. Splendid name. Just incredible. That's a wrestler, actually. Just incredible. The suspect in yesterday's case called herself Eve. What? Hey, if you know anything, you better not be holding back on us. She called herself Eve. Sorry, but I've told you what I know. I'd like to return to my studies now. I believe you know the way out. Hey, you better explain what the hell is going on here. Daniel, forget it. Let's just go. God damn it! Alright, so I think we're supposed to go back to the police station now. I thought that we were going to Central Park right after that, but evidently not. But how cool is it that they actually swore in this game? You know, I can't think of really... You know, it's nothing groundbreaking. Games have always done it, but I mean, shit, this is Square Enix. You know, they're the family-friendly company. They make Final Fantasy that, you know, no one ever curses in those games. They just kind of dress very suggestively, you know, and they're slightly violent, but kid-friendly for the most part. And again, I missed the dialogue. Lara, looks like we got a break in the case. What? We gotta get back to the station, Lara. Hang on, I'm kicking this into turbo. And turbo equates to turning on the sirens because the car did not speed up at all. So that means if you're driving down the road and you honk on your horn, you have officially kicked your car into turbo. And if anyone tries to tell you differently, you have them play this fucking game so they know. What's he doing up there? I want to say we're supposed to talk to the captain, but maybe I should have talked to the woman. She knew. He says, I missed that text. I didn't hit the button. It disappeared on its own. I didn't see what it said. Okay, yeah, I'm right. We're back here in this room. Look at that. They got the whole thing mapped out on the board. Of course, that was there for the press conference as well, wasn't it? So, I don't know why they were trying to deny anything. Everything's right on display for the press to see. Well, actually, yeah, given that, what was the point of even having the fucking press conference? Just bring him in, have him take a picture of the board, and then print it in the papers. You know, but, yeah, I'm not a cop. So now we're going to go to Central Park because Melissa has a solo concert there in the amphitheater. And Daniel's son is there. Or did I just spoil it? Ah, damn it, I did. I spoiled it. I'm sorry. Yeah, apologize for that. Screw you, Baker. My son's in danger. Daniel. Lara. Watch his back. Yes, sir. Got a mod permit. Nice, nice. So I suppose I can go ahead and show off what the mod permits do. I've talked about the tools a bit. You see for this right here, we've got these two slots. We've got the little gun with the 2, and then a blank slot, not spot. Well, it is a spot. It's the same thing. Yeah, so anyways, with the mod permit, we can take an attribute off of a weapon that's down here in this little sort of subcategory of stats, and we can transfer it over to this empty slot. And just like whenever we were to take off any of the base points there for attack range and shit like that, any of the pluses, once we remove this attribute from another weapon and put it into a blank slot on another weapon, then that weapon disappears. And you can do things like upgrade how many shots you're able to fire. Like right now we can only fire 2 shots with this gun, but we can get all the way up to I think 5 or 6 with another weapon. I like to go for 3. That's, 2 shots is manageable. 3 is my preference. So I'm gonna hold out on changing that. In fact, again, this isn't the weapon that I'm gonna be using for the rest of the game, so it's gonna be quite a while before I actually use a mod permit. And you can do the same thing with armor, because your bulletproof vest, they'll have different attributes. Like some of them are sticky resistant, because there's a few enemies that shoot out like spider webs, and when you go walking through them you get real slow, and it takes a while for you to be able to dodge projectiles and shit like that. So that's another thing that I'm going to be holding off on in between episodes, because here pretty quick, hopefully within the next 10 minutes, I'm going to be cutting this episode up so that I can do some junk hunting. I'll have to take a look at the strategy guide and see exactly where that piece of armor is that I always want. So here the box is full again. More ammo. Let's drop some stuff off with Wayne. He can do it so much better. He can turn a gun into a cannon easy. You want to leave something here? Yes, I do. I want to leave the mod permit. And you can put a lot in this storage system here that we're dropping things off in. And this is one of those games that it's got a new game plus. So whenever you finish the game and start a new one with the save file for the completed game, you'll have your fully upgraded weapon and armor and shit like that. And I want to say that whatever you've got in storage will be there as well. I want to say that. I could be wrong. I've only checked out New Game Plus once. Oh, here we go. Oh my goodness. Thank God no one was coming down the road, huh? We're walking on the sidewalk. And that's what you get for driving like a bat out of hell when there's ice on the road. What the hell does Melissa or Eve want from us? Well, it looks like she wants to gather people in one big area. Damn. That thing's got my boy involved. She's gonna pay for this. Let's hurry. Just hang in there, Ben. I'm coming for you. Alright, now I can choose where we're going. Yeah, so it's here. Oh no, I can't choose. We just only have the option. What the fuck? What's going on there? Anyways, here we go. Central Park. Good deal. Ben! Daniel, stop! I gotta get my boy, rookie. Oh! Sometimes you gotta look before you leap, old timer. I don't care if I burn. I'll go. Ben's my son. He's the only family I've got. Damn it, I can't do anything. Leave it to me. Well, but I'll get them out safe. I promise. Besides, Ben needs you. You won't do him any good if you're dead. Alright, I'm counting on you, Laura. I know. Oh my goodness, sometimes the dialogue just stretches on forever. Here we are now, what, almost 40 minutes into this episode, and we really haven't got into any gameplay, per se? This is good music, too. I forget who the composer was for the soundtrack, but it's all quality stuff, man. And my favorite one is the level select music whenever you're switching between the buildings that you can go to. I really enjoy that, and I like the theme whenever you're in the police station as well. Those are my two favorites. So now we've got a new enemy type. I think some of these enemies can poison you. Some of these snakes, I could be wrong on that. But the interesting thing on the poison is, we got new parasite powers. Detox reverses effects of poison. Well, speak of the devil. But really, it's not that big of a concern because you're only poisoned for the duration of the combat. Once you actually kill off all the enemies and then get back to walking around, it's as if nothing happened whatsoever. You're fine. You know, you automatically recover from the poison or the slow spell or whatever it is they cast on you. So it's only a real big concern if you're fairly low on health whenever you begin the combat. But once you get rolling into it and then it's over with, it doesn't matter. And enemies aren't so numerous that combat takes a long time. I mean, once we get into later levels, there's going to be a few instances where there's about 5 or 6 on screen at the same time. But that's pretty much where it maxes out. There's not really a whole lot left after that. I don't know if that's because, you know, everything is limited to just the little square that you're seeing there. Hey, look at that, new weapon. There's my 3 shots, so that's what I'll be setting aside for that purpose. Here we go. Here's the birds, right? Yes, now these are the guys that drop the pieces of junk that I'm going to be farming here momentarily. And you get more junk if you don't sustain any hits in the combat scenario against them. Now it's not always birds by themselves. Sometimes they've got a little funky monkey looking thing with them too. Yeah, look at that, 2 pieces of junk. I need to make a quick little tally real quick so I can keep track. So hang on a second there. Alright. Because the junk is what gets us the super weapon. But fuck, I think I've explained that quite a bit. I'm really not sure if I need to go into detail about that anymore. Little areas like that, you just kind of want to walk around and just run into objects and hit the X button. That's how you open up the drawers. That's how you find out what you can open. Look at that new armor. Nice, nice. And And this over here, that escaped me for the longest time, because you've got to be in that one little corner of it in order to get it to swing aside. Now you see that little bullet thing down there on the bottom of that? I believe those are fire rounds, though I could be wrong. But that's something that some enemies are immune to the fire, so it's not as beneficial as it may seem. Trying to remember where to go here. It's been quite a while. Oh, look at that combat again. Yeah, there's our little funky monkey. At least I think it's supposed to be a monkey. I don't know. I could be wrong on that. And he's got a projectile that he'll throw out at us. That little boomerang looking thing on his arm, they'll shoot it off and it'll swing through the air and hit you and shit like that. Combat back here. Yep. Two snakes. I'm tired of the motherfucking snakes in the motherfucking atrium. Ah, damn it. Well, at least we didn't get poisoned. And we leveled up, so our active time, that's decreased. Nice, nice. Really need to distribute some bonus points, huh? You know, this episode's stretching on a little bit longer than I had anticipated, so I think I'm going to hold off on doing that for a minute. Well, not a minute, but I don't think I'll be doing it in this particular episode. Son of a bitch, inventory's full. Now we can afford to drop a medicine. Exchange medicine 1 for medicine 2, that's not bad. And exchange again. Cure, well, I don't really need that. Some of these potions are just pretty much rendered obsolete as soon as your parasite energy, you know, as soon as you unlock parasite energy abilities, I guess I should say. There's like maybe, I want to say 10 of them, possibly more than that. But they all pretty much do the same thing as every single potion that you will acquire in the game. So essentially, you'll get to a point where you don't even need to carry medicine or potions if your recovery rate for magic points is fast enough. Oh, yeah, there's a projectile. Well, that's going to cost me some junk. Yeah, so's that. There we go. Yeah, it gives you an idea of the funky monkey doing his thing, though. Oh, god damn it. Took a hit. Took another one. What do we got? Oh, shit. I gotta clear out inventory slots so I can carry junk. Let me see. I want to drop off the cure. There we go. So let me make a quick tally of that. So there's 4 out of 300. So we're doing good. I could really stand to drop some shit off. So I think what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna go ahead and I'll first off see what's in this chest after I clean up a little bit of space. There we are. Ammo. Nice, nice. Speaking of which, how are we looking on that? Yeah, we're fully loaded. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go ahead and split day 2 up into 2 parts. I wasn't aware that the cutscenes were so goddamn lengthy before I started this episode. And then in between episodes, I will drop off some shit at the police station and clear up the inventory slots. And then I'll pick up right here in Central Park again in episode 3. And then episode 3 will be the one that gets a rough cut, a hard edit, I guess you could say. So yeah, that's the plan. So ladies and gentlemen, thank you all for watching. Hope you found something of entertainment and educational. You know, hell, you learned about mitochondria today if you didn't know about them before. How cool is that? Huh? Anyways, my name has been Winter, and I will see y'all back here in the 3rd episode. Everybody take care out there.